A timely topic in our world today is that of solar energy. The technological advancements made in recent years have widely expanded the capabilities and potential of solar energy. This world map depicts the surface area required to power the world. This was so striking to us as it highlights how relatively very little surface area is required to do so. This image shows us that a world entirely powered by solar energy and with zero carbon emissions is not a fantasy, but a very plausible and practical reality. Solar power has developed enough to encourage countries to finally begin taking advantage of their most abundant source of clean energy. With the advancements made to solar energy, the prices have declined and become more affordable. The falling cost of solar power has subsequently made it a viable alternative to oil in even the most oil-rich parts of the world. Specifically, a solar energy project in Tunisia is being developed. The project aims to capitalize on the abundance of sun that shines in this part of the world. This project, named Tanur, is an enormous undertaking, and while it has its fierce supporters, it is not without its critics. Tanur would work to address the regional need for electricity, a challenge prevalent across the African continent. Solar energy has the prospect of changing the lives of millions of Africans for the better, and this particular project has the means to do just that. Apart from fulfilling domestic need, Tanur and projects like it aim to sell solar power to Europe. This would invigorate Tunisia's economy and the economies of countless other African countries. Tanur involves the use of concentrated solar power, or CSP, plants, which are one of several renewable energy technologies with significant potential to meet future energy demand. CSP uses parabolic mirrors to heat a tower containing molten salt that in turn heats water to generate steam to run a turbine. More on this process will be detailed later in this presentation. Before delving into more details of Tanur, it is important to note who is financing such a monumental project. The Tanur website mentions three financiers. The first is Noor Energy, a private solar project development company active in the Mediterranean region that is currently developing projects with CSP technology. Second is Zamit, one of Malta's leading family-run businesses, which is active in different sectors, including automobiles, motorcycles, shipping, and oil and gas. The last investor is Glory Clean Energy. There was very little information available on this company and no website to be found apart from the fact that it is a Franco-Tunisian company.
As we all know, the process of generating clean and sustainable energy is only the beginning of its long journey to reach our cities. The logistics of the actual transmission of that power to reach us when we need it and be stored when we don't is the hardest part. So let's talk about the process. First, the mirrors reflect solar rays. Then the heat they produce generates steam, which is stored as thermal energy and released to generate power. Then it is transmitted over power lines across distances on land and over subsea transmission cables when it's transported across oceans. Once it reaches Europe, the solar power will be compatible across the European power grid, even at times of peak demand. This project requires the use of undersea power cables, which are submarine power cables laid on the ocean floor and have actually been around since the early 1800s. But for most of their history, such cables were used primarily to transmit electricity from conventional sources, such as coal plants, either between countries or out to islands or oil platforms. But because of a lack of research, not much is known about what, if any, effect electromagnetic fields and heat generated by these cables might have on aquatic life and the ecosystem that they surround. For example, sharks have been known to attack the cables out of confusion, and they are also suspected to have negative effects on animals' migratory patterns, mating patterns, and feeding patterns.
There are many positive benefits the Tanur project will bring to Tunisia, Morocco, and North Africa as a whole. In the local economy, Around 2,000 workers have already been hired for the initial 2 years of construction, the majority of them Moroccan. When the site has been completed, 20,000 long-term jobs will be created across the whole supply chain in maintaining and operating the facility. Moreover, up to 60% of the cost of construction will be locally sourced in participation with already existing Tunisian industrial companies and service providers. The Tanur project has also made a commitment to local engineering firms for technical, geographic, and socio-economic impact assessments of the site, giving the local populace a voice in the decisions that will need to be made. It is also expected to create hundreds of new manufacturing industries in the creation of specialized equipment such as flat-plate mirrors, motors, and steel structures. With this local manufacturing and research, a supply chain will be built with the potential in expanding to the rest of the North Africa, Middle East region. With its success, it will encourage other African and Middle Eastern countries to turn to solar power for their energy needs, further creating jobs and infrastructure. Kevin Serra, the site manager and a Tunisian himself, argues that building a solar power plant will do much to address the inequality between Tunisia's wealthy coastal cities and the underdeveloped interior as well. What we want to do is really create a solar export sector and other people to follow us. Our main goal is to become energy independent, but if one day we are producing a surplus, we could supply many other countries too. The benefits can already be seen locally, with roads built to provide access to the plants from nearby villages, making it easier for children to get to school, and has decreased traveling time between rural areas. Water brought in for the site has also been piped beyond the complex, connecting up to 33 villages to the clean water grid. This use of water is also being carefully managed, and instead of relying on huge amounts of it to clean the mirrors and other equipment, pressurized air is used. Where water is needed, the use will be limited to wastewater from local palm tree plantations, creating a self-sustaining system not reliant on expensive foreign imports. Furthermore, a percentage of the generated power will be immediately available for domestic consumption, bringing real and tangible benefits to the local communities, as well as providing huge tax revenues to the governments of Tunisia and Morocco. Outside of local benefits, the Tanur project will be able to deliver electricity to any European city without bottlenecks in the grid system, in part due to its favorable location of injection into Italy. There will not be any need for upgrades in the Italian system, so once construction is completed in Tunisia, transmission of power can begin almost immediately, with initial capacity of 5 million European homes. No adverse system costs in any European electrical grids are present as well, and very little integration will be needed to get the power up and running. In fact, the photovoltaic energy produced from the Tanur project has been called more stable, controllable, and predictable, mainly due to solar thermal storage technology. The economics benefits will be felt almost immediately in Europe too. Due to North Africa's high level of sunshine in comparison with a country like Germany, 2 gigawatts of solar imports from Africa can replace 12 gigawatts of photovoltaic energy produced in Germany, an almost tenfold increase in production. The monetary impacts of such a clear comparative advantage have been estimated to range from 180 to 240 million euros in savings from wasted energy. Eventually, Africa's sunshine can make the continent a supplier to the rest of the world, making it a key player in the renewable energy goals of world governments. Its benefits will be felt all across Europe and will positively affect many Africans.
While the Tanur project comes with a host of benefits ranging from economic to environmental, it is not without its share of controversies. The project itself has received a range of criticisms on its building and maintenance, as well as potential local and global impacts. While some consider the costs and safety as the main threat to the project's completion, others would go so far as to claim it promotes a Western model of consumerism to profligate energy consumption at the expense of the global South. These and other concerns can rise as challenges to the Tanur project in the face of its construction. Among the challenges faced for the initiative are security concerns within the Sahara region. Fierce rivalries between North African states could complicate interconnecting power lines through a region-wide grid. Border disputes such as the one ongoing between Algeria and Morocco over the Western Sahara can intrude on many levels, including that of energy sharing. As a result, Most plans now focus on a one-way line between individual countries to Europe and not with each other. Among the challenges faced for the initiative are security concerns within the Sahara region. Fierce rivalries between North African states could complicate interconnecting power lines through a region-wide grid. Border disputes, such as the one ongoing between Algeria and Morocco over the Western Sahara, can intrude on many levels, including that of energy sharing. As a result, most plans now focus on a one-way line between individual countries to Europe and not with each other. While solar technology continues to expand, increasing thermal storage and enhancing energy absorption, many challenges still lie with maintaining and securing such a large energy facility, as well as transporting and delivering electricity over such a vast area. In addition, exporting the power to Europe would require power lines of lengths ranging anywhere from 500 to 2,000 miles, ultimately contributing to power losses upwards of 10% of the total energy transferred. Many concerns arise in the midst of the project's potential ties to modern colonial-esque interests. Some political analysts claim the project is a renewable energy grab of sorts, commonly termed green grabbing, as the appropriation of land and resources for supposedly environmental ends. As such, the Turner project would involve massive land grabs of up to 10,000 hectares, as well as extensive local water usage to clean and cool the panels within the arid regions of the Sahara, all to export that energy to the UK and Europe. Upon its construction, the Turner project will encounter many challenges that threaten its completion. Some would view the project would ultimately prevent local citizens from having full control of their lands and depriving them of their resources, all for the interests of Western elites and foreign companies. Others fear the project could follow in the footsteps of failed predecessor Desert Tech, a $500 billion project to establish an energy tank for Europe in the desert in 2009, which failed due to various political instabilities in the region. These and other concerns cannot be ignored if the Turner project is to succeed in its development.
Support this project as its ongoing stages progress, and remember to stay informed. Twitter is a powerful tool of knowledge and communication and can serve as a source of inspiration if you know which accounts to follow. So check out these and keep up to date on new and exciting energy projects like this. But don't forget to stay up to date about energy projects in our local community. Be a source of positive change every day.
The following video, published on YouTube in August 2014 by NTD TV, summarizes the Turner project. The video also expands on some details we didn't address, so it's worth taking a listen. It is our hope that this video will supplement what we've already discussed throughout this presentation. Sometimes seeing an actual video is helpful to better visualize a proposed project.
A solar energy project in the Tunisian Sahara aims to generate enough clean energy by 2018 to power 2 million European homes. Called the Turner project, developers including renewable investment company Low Carbon and solar developer Neur Energy say the site will produce twice as much energy as the average nuclear power plant. But instead of using typical photovoltaic cells that only generate power during the day, they're using concentrated solar power. Using a vast array of mirrors to concentrate and reflect the intense Saharan sun to a central tower, water or molten salt is heated to over 500 degrees Celsius. The steam produced powers a turbine, which in turn generates electricity. This, says Neur Energy's CEO Kevin Serra, means the plant will produce electricity even when the sun is down.
The technology that you can deploy in the desert is baseload renewable power. That means you can actually replace fossil fuel power plants because we can generate 24/7 using solar power.
Transmission lines will take the electricity to the Tunisian coast, where a dedicated undersea cable will connect it to the European grid via a hub in northern Italy. Over 10 million euros has already gone into identifying the best location in the Tunisian Sahara to harness the intense solar radiation.
It's quite large. It's 10,000 hectares, 100 square kilometers, but there's nothing there. It's just sand and a few bushes. Connectors and transmission lines.
With energy security a big concern, Sarah says the project has the potential to help end Europe's reliance on fossil fuels using desert power.
We believe that this is really opening a new energy corridor. This could be the first of many projects, and we could gradually decarbonize the European grid using desert power and using this solar energy with storage from the Sahara Desert and linked to Europe with high voltage DC cables, which are very, very low in their losses.
Tunisia is seeking to bolster its stability following the 2011 uprising, with lack of jobs and growth contributing to the unrest. The team behind the Tunisia project hope the Saharan sunshine will be a shining light, not only for renewable energy, but for the future of Tunisia.